Hi everybody, Golden Era Fulcrum here, and today we're going to be looking at how to progress into the Gironda Dip, and this video comes after several requests after my video on how Arnold and other old school bodybuilders used the Gironda Dip to develop the lower and outer chest. Just to start off with, the Gironda Dip is actually just called the wide grip parallel dip, and I'll be using both names interchangeably throughout this video. And it was first used during the Silver era and then later in the Golden era as a chest development exercise, specifically to give that square chest look by developing the outer and lower chest that was and is so coveted to this day, and was actually very common in the Silver and Golden era. Many people cringe at the thought of this dip, of the Gironda Dip motion, though, and this is mainly due to a misconception in its performance. It is not to be confused with the Larry Scott dip, which has the hands turned inwards. This variation was ideal for Larry Scott as he was narrow-shouldered. He found that this particular variation stimulated his chest better. Actually, Larry and Vince developed this movement together later on, and there's actually photos of that demonstrating where Vince and Larry are kind of in the gym, at Vince's gym, working out this new exercise. And sometimes people confuse it with the original Gironda or wide grip parallel dip. The original wide grip parallel dip, as described in Vince Gironda's publication Definition and the Wild Physique, is a much safer variation as the hands are not turned in but are held more or less in the neutral position, allowing for a greater range of motion without impingement of the shoulder joint. Vince Gironda describes the motion as follows. He calls the dip itself the wide grip parallel dip, and as he states, the wide grip parallel dips produces a sharp line under the pecs such as no other exercise in the gym can produce. Round the upper back, chin on the chest, elbows pointed straight out to the sides, never even slightly back. Feet together, toes pointed down and under the face. That description can be found in Definition, and if we look at the Wild Physique for the wide parallel bar dip, again he states under the title that this particular motion is for the lower and outer pectorals. You want to keep your chin on your chest, round the back and hold the feet forward under your face, dip downwards on a 32-inch or 80-centimeter wide parallel bar, wider if you are even taller, and raise upwards into a straight arm position. Make a point of stretching as low as you can at the dip part of the exercise. Do not bounce up and down, but perform the exercise under strict control. Now, if you see the action of this particular motion, it actually resembles a cable crossover, or even at a different angle, a decline dumbbell press. And my conversations with Daryl Conant have actually confirmed this, as the cable crossover and decline dumbbell bench press serve as alternate movements for the wide grip parallel dip, which most people are happy to do. Even so, I have to admit that this motion of the Gironda Dip can be rather demanding on the shoulder joint, because you have to basically use your whole body weight. It's different to doing, for example, a cable crossover where you can only put a few kilos on. Having to use your whole body weight makes it a lot more demanding on your joints, and Vince Gironda recognized this. For this reason, he advised that students progress into this motion by first training and practicing the Fulcrum push-up. Now, the Fulcrum push-up I actually introduced in the previous video on Arnold, but here it is again. It's another exercise most people attribute to Vince Gironda. However, it was practiced by most Silver era bodybuilders. And because Vince Gironda learnt and was a gym instructor and taught this exercise since the 1940s, most people now believe that he invented it, which is not the case. Nevertheless, the reason that the Fulcrum push-up was used and taught by Vince Gironda as a beginner exercise is what makes this exercise worth talking about. Vince would teach it to novices as it served two purposes. Because the Fulcrum push-up, as shown here demonstrated by Daryl Conant, has a greater range of motion than the standard push-up, the idea was that it would condition the shoulder joint to upper body exercises that involved a greater range of motion. Many people see photos of golden era bodybuilders performing free weight exercises with a range of motion that is simply not practiced today. And this restriction in the range of motion that is seen nowadays is due to both incorrect training and the overuse of machines that fix the range of motion for you. Moving away from such practices is a good idea if you wish to develop your muscles completely, as performing free weight exercises with a greater range of motion will progressively strengthen the joint to perform increasingly difficult motions like the aforementioned wide grip parallel dip, which has so much fear associated with it. And that again is the point of the Fulcrum push-up. According to Daryl Conant, Vince taught him if a student had no history of shoulder issues and could perform 8 reps of the bodyweight Fulcrum push-up for several sets with ease, that he or she should be able to perform the wide grip parallel dip. That is, they would graduate to that motion after having the ability to perform the Fulcrum push-up. I tried this theory out on myself and went one step further and performed the weighted Fulcrum push-up too, prior to performing the wide grip parallel dip. The reason I chose this longer and more demanding progression to the wide grip parallel dip is because I have had a history of shoulder issues. As many of you may or may not know, I tore my right pectoral tendon completely off the humerus bone in 2016, and it took several procedures to completely restructure my right pectoral, shoulder, and biceps. With such a horrible history in the joint, Daryl Conant actually advised me against performing the Gironda Dip. But I thought, with my medical science background and knowledge in bodybuilding, I thought I would try and slowly progress into the wide grip parallel dip. Some people may think me crazy for attempting it, but I did have 2 reasons in why I wish to be able to perform the wide grip parallel dip. The first reason is that I wished to strengthen my shoulder joint, and I knew that the Fulcrum push-up would definitely help with this. The second was to see if the exercise was really that good in developing the outer and lower chest, as claimed by Vince Gironda. Actually, when I come to think about it, I've got an even third reason, and to be honest, I just wanted to see what all the fear and fuss was about. I mean, it serves as a challenge as well. I figured if a banged up old fart like me could do it, then everyone probably can. And as suggested by Vince Gironda, I initially performed the Fulcrum push-up, but instead of performing the standard Fulcrum push-up using body weight only for 1 month, I performed it over 2 months to really condition the shoulders and pectoral joints and muscles. At first, I have to admit it was a little uncomfortable, but my body quickly adapted, and in no time I was performing complete range of motion Fulcrum push-ups. I decided that before going straight into the Gironda Dip or parallel wide grip dip, I would further strengthen my shoulder and pectoral joints and muscles. So I decided to perform weighted Fulcrum push-ups over 2 more months. And by the 4th month of training, I was performing 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions of 10 kilogram weighted Fulcrum push-ups. Again, at this point, I wish to emphasize that the reason why I extended my preparatory phase into performing the Gironda Dip was that I had a very long history of shoulder issues, and therefore, besides strengthening the area, which was definitely needed, the process of preparing for the Gironda Dip using the Fulcrum push-up also most likely aided in breaking down some of the scar tissue that was probably built up over the years, and also rebuilding, reforming, and restructuring the area to its current healthier state. I believe that this process may have brought fresh blood, for example, and perhaps even circulating stem cells to regenerate the area, as after 4 months of preparation, I was finally able to perform the Vince Gironda Dip. As you can see, I used full body weight, no bands, no nothing to support me. At the time, I was able to perform 5 to 6 reps for 1 to 2 sets of the Gironda Dip. And these days, I'm able to perform 6 to 8 reps for 3 to 4 sets. In some sets, I even go weighted. In my opinion, at least, it has definitely helped develop my lower and outer chest, which was one of the major reasons why I chose to go through this process, I also wished to show that even a banged up old rust bucket like myself can perform it. Well, if it is intelligently approached with slow and steady progression, of course. I mean, that's all it is. It's slow and steady progression, and be intelligent about it. Now, if a person of 43 years of age with a history of years of shoulder issues like myself can do it, I really personally don't understand why a novice could not at least attempt the exercise after the normal 1-month preparation phase using the Fulcrum push-up. And to be honest, I also do not understand the fear that is associated with it. It is a great exercise and you really do feel it in the lower and outer chest. It is a very different feeling to that which you will feel after performing, for example, bench presses, whether with a barbell or a machine, where the feeling is more centered in the middle of the chest muscle. So that's basically my progression into performing the Vince Gironda dip, or otherwise known as the wide grip parallel dip. Having performed it, I do feel more confident in performing things like bench presses with dumbbells or barbells again after all my surgeries, because the dip and the Fulcrum push-up movements have served to strengthen and develop my shoulder joint after the terrible ordeal I went through in having my right shoulder, biceps and pectoral fixed over several operations since 2016. So I do hope you have enjoyed this video looking at my progression into the Gironda dip, and I hope that you can take away something from it. If you have enjoyed the video, please give the video a thumbs up and leave me your comments. That's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Now, if you're interested in learning Arnold's original bodybuilding training and nutrition principles, please visit my website for a full collection of booklets, including his arms and chest training programs, available at www.goldenerabookworm.com. Need a bodybuilding poster for your gym or office? Then check out Ironman Magazine archive.smugmug.com for the highest quality posters on the planet. Scroll through the galleries of all the legends, including greats such as Arnold, Frank Zane, Sergio Oliva, Serge Nubret, Tom Platz, and Larry Scott, and much, much more, and select your poster now.
The golden era of bodybuilding was born on the sandy platforms, rusty rings, and blistering high bars of Muscle Beach, where young men and women performed feats of strength and gymnastics, igniting a fitness boom that would reverberate for decades. By the 60s and 70s, the golden era was in full form, spreading like wildfire, and engulfing a new generation of bodybuilders who wanted nothing more than an all-natural, well-rounded physique. This lifelong pursuit of physical perfection created legends, including a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, the Golden Boy, Larry Scott, 3-time Mr. Olympia, Frank Zane, and the Duke of Delts, Don Howarth. These men all had one thing in common. They all trained under the legendary Iron Guru, Vince Gironda. Vince believed above all else that bodybuilding was 85% nutrition, and he scoffed at anyone who took shortcuts to achieve their fitness goals. At NSP Nutrition, we hold true to our roots and maintain Vince's spirit alive by sharing his belief that all you need to achieve greatness is the right exercises, the right foods and supplements, and the right attitude. At NSP, you'll find all of Vince's training manuals and books, his many diets that pair perfectly with these exercises, and of course, small batch, high-quality production of Vince's original supplements. All our products are clean, superior formulas made from earth-grown nutrients, free of harmful chemicals, added sugars, and toxic preservatives. We make no compromises, take no shortcuts, and accept nothing but the best. Because the moment you decide to get back into shape or want to accelerate your gains and win your next competition, NSP will be by your side to help you achieve your personal health and fitness goals. That's how we maintain the spirit of the Golden Era champions and honor the legacy of our founder, Vince Gironda. Simply put, our customers trust NSP Nutrition, and they appreciate what we stand for. Once you become a customer, you become part of the NSP family. This is NSP's commitment to you.